नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं उत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 8th chapter, the character of Bharat Maharaj, text 25-27. So again, I'll just read through the verse. It's in a prose form. Tadanim opi parshavarti namatmaja ivanu shochantam abhivikshamano mriga evabhiniveshita mana vishrijya lokamimam saha mrigeno kalevaram mritamanu na mritajanmanu smriti itaraban mrigasharira abapa. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. At the time of death, King saw that the deer was sitting by his side, exactly like his own son, and was lamenting his death. Actually, the mind of the king was absorbed in the body of the deer, and consequently, like those bereft of Krishna consciousness, he left this world. The deer and his material body, and acquired the body of a deer. However, there was one advantage. Although he lost his human body and received the body of a deer, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. Please repeat after me. At the time of death, the king saw that the deer was sitting by his side, exactly like his own son, and was lamenting his death. Actually, the mind of the king was absorbed in the body of the deer, and consequently, like those bereft of Krishna consciousness, he left the world, the deer, and his material body, and acquired the body of a deer. There is no need to rush, just listen to me. However, there was one advantage. Although he lost his human body and received the body of a deer, he did not forget the incident of his past life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There was a difference between Bharat Maharaj's acquiring a deer's body and others acquiring different bodies according to a mental condition at the time of death. After death, others forget everything that has happened in their past lives. But Bharat Maharaj did not forget. According to Bhagavad Gita, Jang Jang Bapi Smaran Bhavam Tajattante Kalevaram Tang Tame Vaiti Konteya Sada Tadbhava Bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita 8:6. After quitting his body, a person gets another body according to his mental condition at the time of death. At death, a person always thinks of the subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. According to this law, because Bharat Maharaj was always thinking of the deer and forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. However, due to his having been elevated to the topmost platform of devotional service, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. This special benediction saved him from further deterioration. Due to his past activities in devotional service, he became determined to finish his devotional service even in the body of a deer. It is therefore said in this verse, Mritam, although he had died, Anu, afterwards, na mrito janmanu smritir itadavat. He did not forget the incidents of his past life as others forget them. As stated in Brahma Samhita, karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. It is proved herein that due to the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is never vanquished. Due to his willful neglect of devotional service, a devotee may be punished for a short time, but he again revives his devotional service and returns home back to Godhead. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitang Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatta Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So, the story of Bharat Maharaj is being described here in this chapter. Actually, for last few chapters also, Bharat Maharaj's story is being narrated. It's a genealogical description coming from Dhruva Maharaj down to his line. Then it came to Prithu Maharaj. Finally it came to Rishabdev. And Rishabdev's son is this Bharat Maharaj. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam is the factual narration of important incidents in relation to Krishna consciousness. The difference between Itihash and Puran is Itihash or history goes according to chronology, time-wise, in relation to time. But Puran is in relation to importance of the topic. In the Puran, it has been, they don't follow the chronological description. Sometimes the incident of the past, incidents of later period is presented before, and the incident of before is presented later, in order to establish the purpose why those anecdotes are being described. But sometimes we find chronological descriptions also as we are getting, it's also, later on also we'll see, especially in the 9th canto, we are getting the genealogical table of Krishna's line, Chandravamsa. So, these descriptions are there in order to make the point, and here we are seeing that one after another great personalities are coming, like as we were saying, Prithu Maharaj, then Dhruva Maharaj, Rishabdev. Prior to that there was Vena, King Vena. He was a tyrannical person, very, very cruel person. And he was cursed by the sages. And as a result of that he died. And then from his body, which was preserved, from churning his body, the Lord appeared as an incarnation of Prithu Maharaj, Shaktavesh avatar. So, in this way, here we are seeing a very important, here we are learning a very important lesson from this incident of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was the ruler of the entire earth planet, and at some point he left his kingdom. This is the Vedic culture. In Vedic culture, one is inspired to give up everything at some point. Because people know, in the Vedic culture, people know that this life is not everything. There is another life after this. Life will continue again and again. Therefore, they prepare themselves for the next life, or prepare themselves for the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to achieve the lotus feet of Krishna. So if one remains attached to the material nature, then it becomes difficult for him to give up his attachment. Therefore, the Vedic culture actually very systematically designed the human life, especially civilized human life. In the Vedic culture, the civilized human beings used to begin their life as a brahmachari. The parents used to send the children to Gurukul. And in Gurukul, one used to study the scriptures under the guidance of a teacher, and one used to lead the life of a brahmachari. Student life means brahmachari life, restraining from sense gratification. If the students indulge in sense gratification, Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai, Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki Jai. Can Hare Krishna. Everybody can hear now. Maybe I should have asked whether everybody could hear me. Should I start from the beginning? Okay, the point is, I made 2 points. One point is that Srimad Bhagavatam is not a fairy tale. Srimad Bhagavatam is the factual descriptions of things that happened in the past. These things happened. It's like a history. Bhagavatam is like a history. The difference is the history goes on a chronological order, time-wise. History follows the time. Like Mahabharata is the history, and we get the chronological, time-wise, what happened after such and such period, then what happened, then what happened. Whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is not chronologically presented. It is, presentation is according to its relevance. When something was necessary to establish the point, it was some incident from the past had been described. And then some other incident will be described after that according to the importance of that topic in that particular subject. And the ultimate subject is actually devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhagavatam is a Puran, and here, but still in Bhagavatam also we find some genealogical description, the family line, who came after who. And this way it is presented. So here we are getting the description of another line, very illustrious line that comes down to Rishabdev. Then Rishabdev's son, Bharat Maharaj. And Rishabdev didn't have only one son, Rishabdev had 100 sons. And out of those 100 sons, the eldest son inherited the kingdom, that was Bharat Maharaj. The 9 sons became rishis, yogis, Navajogendras. Kabi, Habi, Antariksha, etc. And the remaining sons became involved in Kshatriya business. I think 10 other... Yeah, right. The 9 other sons became the ruler of the 9 varshas, 9 parts of the Bhumandal. And the remaining 81 became involved in Kshatriya activities. So anyway, so Bharat Maharaj's incidents is very, very relevant, very important for us to understand. Like here we are getting the descriptions of 3 lives. One life is Bharat Maharaj. Next life, the life of a deer. And the third life is life of Jara Bharat. So, this actually, in the Vedic culture, nobody has any doubt about Janmantar, rebirth, transmigration of the soul from one body to another. And that is taken for granted, everybody knows. Even an ordinary person in the street knows that. That sometimes we get to come across people. Yes, मैं जन्मांतर मानते हैं, ये जन्म ही सब कुछ नहीं है, फिर भी अगले भी आएगा, और जैसे हम इस जन्म में काम करेंगे उसके अनुसार हमको अगला जन्म मिलेगा. Even ordinary people know that. I don't know, of course, now how many people are aware of that. Because when one is aware of that fact, that according to his action he will get the next body, then he will think twice before doing something wrong. Nowadays people are living such sinful life. They are stealing, they are cheating, they are taking bribes. It's become a common thing. Often we see that in different offices, unless you give bribe, nothing gets done. Somebody was telling me, actually it was in South Africa, the way they ask for bribe is, they don't say that, they say, "I'm hungry." So when they say, "I am hungry," that means, I want some money. So, and here we are seeing how people are taking bribes. Like one day I was shocked to see in a major street in Calcutta, a major circle in Calcutta, called Sham Bazaar, where 5 roads meet in a circle. It's one of the most prominent places in Calcutta. And there the police was taking bribe from the passing trucks. The trucks were going and I was noticing that few policemen were standing there, and they were just, as the trucks were coming, they were approaching the trucks. And so out of curiosity, I just stopped the car and I was watching. And I saw what was actually happening. With all the truck drivers, as the policeman was coming, the truck driver was giving some money. And if somebody didn't give the money, I don't know what would have happened. Probably he'll take the truck driver to the police station. So they are also afraid to not give any. So I was thinking, if the policeman take bribe, then what's going to happen to the law and order? The policemen are supposed to maintain the law and order. So when they are becoming so unscrupulous, how the law and order will be maintained? So, which means that anybody can commit any crime and give some bribe to the police and get out of it. And why they're acting like that? Because no one is telling them that, look, the wrong things that we are doing now, you'll be punished for that in future. If we have the understanding that for our wrongdoings we'll be punished, then we won't act in a wrongful way. And that is why the Vedic culture, the lessons of the Vedic scriptures is so important. It gives us such a broad understanding of our existence. This life is not everything. You may take you may steal something, or you may take something in an inappropriate way, but for that you have to pay the price. I mean, doesn't it happen in normal course of life? Like if somebody steals, stealing means taking something without paying the price. Isn't that the definition of stealing? So, unlawfully taking something. So if you take something not paying the price now, then you are caught and you are taken to the court, then what will happen? Will the court ask you to pay that same amount? Or the court will charge you much higher price to pay, plus punishment. You stole something costing 5 rupees, but when you are judged in the court, then they will say 5 months of rigorous imprisonment and 5,000 rupees fine. So if you know that for the sake of 5 rupees, you have to pay 5,000 rupees, will you ever do that? No. So that is why this lesson, this understanding is so important. Don't think that everything is ending just now. It will continue. Your life will continue after this life. So be prepared that next life becomes a better one. Don't risk your next life. In this life you got a very nice situation, you got a human body, you have so many nice facilities. But what if in the next life you get the body of an animal? What will happen if you get the body of an animal? Do you think it will be very nice? Just look at the animals. In the forest, no food to eat. They have to struggle so hard to get some food. There is no shelter through winter, summer, monsoon. They're just exposed to the open. At the most, they can take some shelter under a tree. Would you like to lead a life like that? So be careful about how you're leading this life, because accordingly you'll have your next life. If you act in a wrongful way, you will inevitably be punished. On the other hand, if you act in a right way, you'll be rewarded. So what do you want? Reward or punishment? How many of you want punishment? No one. Okay, very good sign. So act properly. Act in such a way that you'll be rewarded. And what is the ultimate reward? What is the ultimate reward? The ultimate reward is elevation to Krishna Loka. Go back to Krishna. You may think that it will be a nice reward to be able to live in a palace of a king. Won't it be a nice proposal if somebody comes and says, you have been invited to the Buckingham Palace where the kings of England live? If you get an opportunity like that, how will you feel? Or you'll be able, if you're invited to live in the White House where the President of America lives. Now, Krishna's palace is million times, zillion times more wonderful than this Buckingham Palace or White House. And that opportunity is there. You have this opportunity. If you act in a right way, then you can be elevated. And what is the way to act right way? What is the right way? The right way is to surrender to Krishna. That's about all that is needed. Just surrender to Krishna, accept His authority. Lead your life with an intention to please Him through your service. That's about all that is needed. And the reward will be elevation to the spiritual sky. Now, that is being how we get the results of our action has been very graphically described in these few chapters. Bharat Maharaj was a king. Not only an ordinary king, he was the ruler of the entire earth planet. He was the ruler of the entire earth planet. And he gave up his kingdom. Just walked away from his kingdom without taking anything. And he walked and walked and walked. He didn't go out in a chariot. One fine morning, he handed over the kingdom to his son and he walked away, just like his father also did. His father Rishabdev also did that. Coronated his son, Bharat, in the throne and walked. So Bharat also did the same thing. Left home. And he walked all the way to the Himalayas and went to the bank of the Gandaki river, a holy river. And there he became absorbed in cultivating his Krishna consciousness, chanting the Lord's name, meditating upon the Lord, worshipping Him. So this is how he was spending his time. And naturally, he developed a deep relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a deep, loving relationship that he was experiencing transcendental emotion. Thinking about the Lord, he would shed tears. He would loudly chant the name of the Lord and dance in ecstasy. Hashati, Rodati, Roti, Nrittati, Lokobaji. Sometimes you would laugh, sometimes you would cry. Sometimes you would dance, sometimes you would sing. As if he didn't have any external consciousness. And one day when he was meditating on the Lord's lotus feet, sitting on the bank of Gandaki, he saw a deer tried to jump across the river, being afraid of a lion's approach. The lion was roaring, and hearing the sound of thunderous sound of the roar of the lion, he jumped out, tried to cross the river, and the deer was pregnant with a baby in her womb, and she had a miscarriage. And the deer baby got washed away with the current. So Bharat Maharaj saw that and rescued the baby deer. And he started to take care of the deer. As if like a mother, he was taking care of the deer. And in course of time, Bharat Maharaj became so attached to that deer that he constantly started to think about the deer, forgetting about the Lord. He started to, that's why Prabhupada pointed out here that due to his willful neglect of devotional service, he should have thought of it. Oh, it's wrong, it's not right that I'm getting so absorbed with the deer. But that's how material attachment, how strong the material attachment can be. After living his kingdom, after living his family, after living his own children that have been described as a part of his heart. The children are so dear to the parents that they seem to be like a part of their hearts. So he severed all that relationship. He left everything in order to become absorbed in devotional service. But then he became attached to this deer. And this particular verse is describing how when he was leaving his body, he saw the deer. While he became attached to the deer also became attached to him. So when he was leaving his body, the deer was by his side, as if just like his son. And as a result of that, Bharat Maharaj left his body thinking about the deer. And as a result of that, he got a deer body. Because that's what happens. Jang jang bapi smaran bhavam tajattante kaleva. With whatever thought one lives his body, accordingly he gets his next body. Tang tameva iti konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Sada tad bhava bhavita. With the thought that one is completely engrossed, accordingly he will leave his body and accordingly he will get his next body. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimhadev ki Jai. But Bharat Maharaj had one advantage. Although he got a deer body, he remembered his past life. He didn't forget. So that is the one benefit, one advantage of spiritual advancement. Because when one becomes involved in spiritual life, and whatever he does spiritually, that remains with him in the spirit soul. body's activities and body's accomplishments are left with the body. We leave them behind with the body. But the spiritual accomplishments remain with the spirit soul. So that is the advantage of being involved in spiritual life. And Prabhupada is pointing out that that's the difference between Bharat Maharaj is getting a dear body and an ordinary living entity is getting his next body, degraded. When we leave our body, ordinary living entities leave their bodies, they don't have any recollections of their past. They don't remember anything. But Bharat Maharaj remembered what happened to him. He recalled, he recounted his fall down. In spite of leaving everything behind, in spite of becoming so sincerely involved in his service to the Lord, he failed at the end of his life. And he got degraded into a dear body. Therefore, this time he didn't want to make any mistake. Even though in a dear body, he became involved in spiritual activity. And as a result of that, in his next life, of course, as a deer, he could not become engaged in much of a spiritual activity. But what he could do is he could just stay by the ashram of the saintly personalities. And when they would discuss about Krishna conscious activities, then he would listen to them. So in this way, when Bharat Maharaj left his dear body, in his next life he got the body of Jar Bharata, born in a Brahmana family. And from his birth, obviously we can see that in that birth also he remembered his past life. So this time he didn't want to take any chance, didn't want to make any mistake. And he was completely careful, extremely careful not to develop any attachment. And as a result of that, he started to behave like a retarded person who cannot speak, who cannot understand, who doesn't have any intelligence. Why? So that he doesn't develop any attachment to anyone. And anyway, so that is how we are learning our lesson. If we think that this is just a story, we won't benefit from this. But if we recognize that this is some factual narration, it happened, there was a personality like Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was the ruler of the entire earth planet. Bharat Maharaj left everything and went to the bank of the Gandaki. And there he developed attachment to a deer, and as a result of that he got a deer body. If we accept this as reality, as a fact, then automatically it makes us careful about our next life. Should I behave, should I act in such a way, should I develop attachment in such a way that I may also become degraded in that way, get into a deer body or an animal body? No. But assurance is there. A proper execution of devotional service, salpamappasya dharmasya trayate. A little performance of devotional service will free us, will deliver us from the greatest danger, greatest fear, the fear of death, fear of getting a wrong kind of body. On the other hand, if we get the assurance that because of practicing devotional service, we'll get at least a human body in the next life. That is guaranteed. Why? Because the assurance is there that up to the extent we make our advancement, in the next life we'll begin from that point onwards. If we accept the spiritual life and act accordingly, then we'll get an opportunity to advance further in our next life. So at least that assurance is there, that in our next life we'll get an opportunity. We can see, although Bharat Maharaj got a deer's body, he actually got an opportunity to make further advancement. Like, in spite of getting a deer body, he remembered everything that happened. Therefore, he was very cautious not to make the same mistake. Even as a deer, he didn't want to develop attachment to his mother. So as soon as he grew up, as soon as he was able to move away from his deer family, he left the deer family and just went to the hermitage of the saintly people. And there he started to spend his life. So, in this way we can see that whatever spiritual activities we perform never goes in vain, never goes to waste. It will remain as our asset. As I mentioned earlier, our spiritual assets will remain with the spirits. Our material assets will remain with our material body. And when this material body is finished, those assets are also finished. But that is not the case with the spiritual activity. Therefore, we should be very careful to be constantly engaged in spiritual activity. Take advantage of this wonderful opportunity to execute devotional service, and the result will be there. So, Bharat Maharaj's incident is such a wonderful reminder of that. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody have any question?
Thank you very much, Srimad, for the explanation. You mentioned that for being elevated to Krishna Loka, we have to live our life with intention to please Krishna through our service. So sometimes we see that we have intention to please Krishna, like through teaching, and we try our best, but we do not get the result. Other devotee, he has also intention to preach and he gets good result. Sometimes even disappointment feeling comes that maybe Krishna is not pleased with me, although our intention, but result is not coming. What is the...
Well, there is no way of knowing whether Krishna is pleased with us or not. Leave that up to Krishna. Let Krishna decide. You just keep on trying to please him. Alright? And of course, one way of recognizing whether Krishna is pleased is by seeing whether the senior devotees, the advanced devotees are pleased with you. When they are pleased with you, you can recognize that Krishna is pleased with you. So therefore, pleasing the devotees is the best way to please Krishna. Alright?
So how much the intention matter and how much the result matter in the Krishna life?
Intention is 100%, result is 0. Alright? Don't worry about the result. That part is 0. But intention, yes, full endeavor. Alright? Try your best and desire for nothing besides Krishna's service. So there is a question from Parameshwari Radhika Devi Dasi from Haryana. Jai Shri Gurudev, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. We know that whatever actions we do, we get results for such action in any life. But sometimes we use harsh words against someone. How can we correct our behavior? Okay, Parmeshwari, so you have given me the answer. If you recognize that you have used harsh word, you have not been nice, then will you continue to be like that? Or would you try to rectify it? So, when you realize that something has been done, something was wrong, then don't do it. And correct yourself. If you think that you have hurt somebody with your harsh words or other actions, then try on your part, first of all, try not to do that again and go to that person and ask for forgiveness. That is the best way to correct yourself. Yes.
My question has two parts. First is, what good dharma did the deer have that he got the association of Maharaj? And the second part is, what happened to him as a result of being attached to such a devotee?
Okay, so what is the deer's point of view? Yeah, must have been a very fortunate deer. And yes, he must have got spiritual benefit, receiving so much attention and mercy from such an advanced devotee, such an advanced personality. And there must have been some result. Yeah.
Sometimes we find that passion, the society is too much, too deep rooted. Sometimes people who are practicing Krishna consciousness need to bribe someone to get the job done. How long is that?
Yeah. Sometimes the devotees also have to bribe. Well, what to do? Andher Nagri Chopat Raja. So, when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. Sometimes to get our work done, we have to do it, but we have to see that it is pray to Krishna for forgiveness, that you have to do it for the sake of His service, sake of your service to Him. So that way we can beg His forgiveness and indulge in that, what to do. Like, in order to stop that, I remember when Narendra Modi came to power, he tried to make a rule that if anybody reported somebody taking bribe, then one should not give bribe and one should not take bribe. Not only one shouldn't take bribe, one should give bribe also. But it didn't happen, it didn't work. There was a lot of appreciation and admiration for that for the time being. But things didn't change, still the same. Like this, actually, it's a good point that you made. Like, as you said, like, we sometimes have to do that. I'll admit, when our full dome came, to get the work done, we had to hire somebody who made the arrangement and got it through in just 1 day's time. Otherwise, probably it would have taken 7 days. Now, we had the urgency to set up the full dome here before 22nd. So to get the work done, we had to bribe. Hopefully Narendra Modi won't get to know that. Satish Krishna Das. My question is, when a person leaves his body in an accident, or he had no time to think, or he had no consciousness, so what will be his situation? So that's why we have to practice devotional service, so that death can come at any moment. Death can be an accidental death. But if we can remember Krishna, then everything will be all right. Otherwise, accidental death can be quite unfortunate. Because there is no time to prepare. All of a sudden, it's finished. Whereas a normal death, you see, we become sick, body becomes weak, attachment deteriorate. So that way we get a chance to prepare ourselves for death. But accidental death means sudden death, and then the time is not there to prepare. But that's why a devotee has to always prepare himself. What if death comes now? And what will be the answer? Let me think of Krishna, let me take shelter of Krishna. So that is how we have to prepare ourselves. So Kanina from Mumbai, Pamho AGTS Mahapi Maharaj, you said the right way to reach Krishna is to surrender to Him. How I will come to know I have surrendered to Him? Also, how to be detached in my family life and attached to Krishna? Okay, maybe I should have asked you. So how, first of all, how to be detached from family life? So become detached by not developing attachment to your family members. And with proper knowledge, proper wisdom. And proper wisdom is that you consider the consequence, what may happen. The family tie will automatically be there with your close relatives and all. But with knowledge we have to detach ourselves. Just as I said, like that we have to prepare ourselves. We have to be prepared all the time that death may come at any moment. So the question is, if death comes now, who shall I think of? That's the way we have to prepare ourselves. If death comes now, who shall I think? Should I think of my children? Should I think of my grandchildren? Should I think of my relatives? Or should I think of Krishna? What will be your answer, Kanina? Now if death comes, who are you going to think of? That is how you have to detach yourself. And develop your attachment to Krishna. Hear about Krishna all the time. Manmana bhavo. Shinnatang sakatha Krishna punna shravana kirtana. Listen to Krishna's glorious pastimes all the time. And that's how you'll develop your attachment to Krishna. And when you get the higher taste of developing attachment to Krishna, you will automatically give up your lower taste of attachment to the family members. Alaka Radha Devi Dasi from Mumbai, Guru Maharaj Dandavat Pranam. Should a householder give priority to temple service over responsibility towards family members? Well, it will again depend, like where the priority will be. Like say for example, you have your family members and say you have to cook for them. as the housewife, you have to cook for them. Then I would suggest, cook for your family members, because otherwise your family will be in trouble. But when you are cooking, don't think that you are cooking for your family members. When you are cooking, remember that you are cooking for Krishna. And after you have finished your cooking, offer the bhoga to Krishna. And then serve your family members with Krishna Prasad. So that is how you can also render devotional service at home. It is not that in order to devotional service you have to always go to the temple. Krishna is everywhere. You can situate a nice altar at home. And there you can worship Krishna, offer bhog to Krishna. And that way you will be serving Krishna as well as you will be taking care of your family members. You have, yes. Give her the mic. Haribol, where's the mic?
हरे कृष्णा गुरु महाराज जी, मेरे दो प्रश्न हैं। पहला ये कि आपने कहा था कि भरत महाराज जी ने हिरण का स्मरण किया था हस्त में, तो उनको हिरण का जन्म हुआ भरत महाराज। तो हिरण का जब जन्म हुआ था, हिरण का जो शरीर प्राप्त हुआ, तो हिरण जब साधु संत के आसपास आश्रम में थे, उनका झूठा खाते थे, चेतना तो भगवान की थी, शरीर हिरण का था। को क्यों मिला उपचार करा? डायरेक्ट बोलो नाम चला।
कौन? क्या हुआ?
हिरण शरीर में रहने के बाद भी चेतना भगवान पर थी, तो भी तीसरा बार क्यों मिला हिरण?
हाँ, बल्कि तो नहीं हुआ, भगवान को सेवा छोड़ दिया हिरण के नाते। इसलिए प्रभुपाद कह रहे हैं कि स्वेच्छाकृत रूप में भगवान को सेवा छोड़ दिया। उनको याद करना, सोचना चाहिए था कि ये ठीक नहीं है। ओके ओके, हाँ नहीं, ये भगवान की सेवा में सही रूप से युक्त होने के लिए मनुष्य शरीर का जरूरत होता है। इसलिए वो हिरण शरीर के पश्चात एक ब्राह्मण शरीर मिला था।
भगवान के इंद्र को प्रसन्न करनी चाहिए। हम जो भी भक्ति के कार्य करते हैं तो कैसा समझना चाहिए, उससे गुरु और कृष्ण प्रसन्न
की बोलो किया।
हम यही समझ सकते हैं हमारे सेवा में गुरु कृष्ण संतुष्ट है।
हाँ,
ऐसी समझ सकते हमारे सेवा में गुरु कृष्ण संतुष्ट है।
अगर कृष्ण को पूछ नहीं पाया तो गुरु को पूछ सकते हो। ठीक है, पर मैं तो बोलूंगा तुम्हारी सेवा में बहुत संतुष्ट हूँ। हरे कृष्ण। नहीं, तुम बहुत अच्छा से सेवा कर रही हो, भक्त लोग को सेवा कर रही हो, बहुत अच्छा। अपने बच्चों को देखभाल कर रही हो। हाँ,
हमारे गेस्ट हाउस से ज्यादा गेस्ट उनके घर में।
महाराज कह रहे हैं कि हमारे गेस्ट हाउस से अधिक भक्त तुम्हारा घर में रहता है। तब तो गेस्ट हाउस शुभानंद क्या बोलता है? यस राधा रानी।
This is in connection with Satish Krishna's question. The day before Ramanavami, I was entering some service with Narayan Mataji.
Say it again. I couldn't. Somehow the sound is not very.
The question is related to Satish Krishna for this question to you. And the day before Ramanavami service,
under the guidance of Kalakana Mataji, and it happened to be 10 hours service. So she was complimenting the service, and then she said, here the Prabhu must be rendering services to Krishna in the spiritual side, while I was rendering service here. So I told her, but I don't know because of the way he left his body. And then she told me she heard a class where Srila Prabhupada said that if a devotee renders services to him, and at the time of death, he cannot remember Krishna, then Krishna forcibly enters his mind. So of course I was extremely emotional about this, and then the next day when I went to the service on Ramnavami, and she told me that she even spoke to Shruti Kama Prabhu about it, and Shruti Kama Prabhu told me that this is the situation. So the devotee cannot remember.
Anyway, I mean, they are two different things. Like, first of all, the way Priyavrata left his body, it was not an accidental death. It may be sudden, but it was not accidental. His physical condition prepared him. And as you said, like when a person renders devotional service to Krishna so sincerely, Krishna naturally remembers, and Krishna rewards his devotees. So, devotee situation is different. Even if there is an accidental death, apparently, still it is not like that. Like, for example, the way Tamal Krishna Maharaj left his body. It was obviously an accidental death. But there is enough reasons I personally have reasons to understand that he knew, Tamal Krishna Maharaj knew that he was going to leave his body. So he knew that he was going to leave his body. Another thing I heard later on is that his autopsy said that before that accident took place, he actually left his body. So, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Ananda Kanda Das. Where is Ananda Kanda? Okay. When we hear and read the biography of great devotees, we feel inspired and we also aspire to become like them. How to start becoming like them and remain satisfied? What's the question? Like you're saying, you're feeling inspired when you read the biography of advanced devotees, great devotees, and you want to become like them. Then you're saying how to start becoming like them. So, if you are inspired, try to follow their example, right? The way they lived, the way they acted, the way they served. Try to be like them. Take the right example from them. All right? You find out, when you read their lives, what do you get to see? You get to see how sincere they were in serving, how much sacrifice they made. So, when you read that, what do you like to do? You want to read the book and go and play? Or do some prajalpa with some other devotees? Or you want to become more fixed up? So, Be inspired means become more fixed up. Okay? Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.